I'm so excited. Today we are going to be preparing an easy and elegant Easter brunch. I've got 2 great recipes for you. Make sure you stick around. We've got conversations with Christian. I've got a few tips. And at the very end, I'm going to take a few questions from you. So let's get started. All right, guys, so first up, I'm going to be making a seared baby lamb rack with a fresh herb pesto. This recipe is so easy, but it's really, a little bit elegant because we are working with some lamb. If you'd like, you can also make this dish with chicken, which is a little bit less expensive, but hopefully you guys can splurge for this one on Easter. All right, so we're going to start with our lamb rack. Now, the key to this is to make sure that you keep the lamb rack as a whole rack. But let's get started by seasoning with some salt and a little bit of pepper. Okay, so we're gonna bring this over to the stove so that we can sear this. So follow me. And what we wanna do is we wanna add a little bit of high heat oil. So grapeseed oil works, canola oil works. So I've added a little bit in here, and you can see what we're looking for is the smoke point. So literally the point at which the oil you see a little puff of smoke there. And that's gonna indicate that the pan is really nice and hot. So we're gonna add our lamb rack in, flesh side down, just like this. We wanna give this a really nice sear so that we sear the surface proteins and get that nice caramelization that you're looking for. So one thing to keep in mind is it's okay to use a really high temperature because you're only using it for a short period of time. I think a lot of times when you're at home and you're cooking, you're a little bit scared to turn the heat up too high because you see smoke and all of that. You don't want to set off the fire alarm. But to get a really nice sear, you need that pan to be really, really hot. So just make sure that your pan is really nice and really hot. All right, we're going to flip this over now. And then we're gonna take this into the oven. You wanna go into a 400-degree oven for about 5 to 7 minutes is what we're looking for a really perfect medium to medium rare. All right, guys, so this is one of the easiest sauces. I love it. I really can serve it on anything from lamb to seafood, chicken. It really works for a variety of dishes, and it's so easy. You're gonna love it. You can get very creative with which kind of herbs you use. I'm literally just using whatever I had around today. So we're gonna have some fresh parsley. I'm gonna throw some mint in there. Cilantro's great. Really kind of whatever you're interested in, as long as it's really nice and fresh. So we've got a nice amount of herbs here, about a quarter cup of herbs loosely, maybe a half a cup. And we just want to give this a really nice rough chop. So you make a nice little mound here and just take your chef's knife and we'll cut those. What it does really when you have this fresh herb salsa verde, or you could even call it like a pesto, is it just adds this extra bit of brightness and fresh flavor that takes your meat dish to a whole nother level. So we're gonna put this in a small little bowl, just like I have here. We'll put our herbs in there. And then next up, we're gonna add some olive oil. I would say use a really nice olive oil, since this is something that we're using for a sauce, a really nice extra virgin, whatever kind of fancy olive oil you have will be great because the flavor is gonna come through really nicely here. And it's a good amount. So you're looking for about, again, a quarter of a cup. I'm eyeballing it here. So there we go. And then we're gonna add some zest and some juice of a lemon. So I'm gonna put a little bit of lemon zest in here. Okay, and then we're gonna add the juice of half of 1 lemon. So the lemon juice is what's going to add the brightness. And then the final really major ingredient for this is garlic. You don't want to put too much garlic. Because we're using a raw garlic clove, you really need just 1 garlic clove for your entire batch. So I'm going to use a garlic press for this. I don't think I ever show you guys I use gadgets every once in a while, and I love this one. So we're going to put 1 garlic clove in here. And then a little bit of salt. This is just kosher salt that I'm using. You could use sea salt if you'd like. And some more fresh pepper. So now we're just gonna give this a stir. This is really all it takes. This is wonderful. You can make this several hours in advance. I'm gonna transfer it to this pretty serving dish. So we're gonna go check on our lamb. It should be just about ready. Be right back. Oh, this looks amazing. All right, so I'm gonna bring my lamb right here. And now I'm gonna show you guys how to slice it and plate it up with our salsa verde. So you wanna take your chef's knife and hug very close to the bone, right up against it. You can hold on to this bone while you slice. Look at how beautiful that is. And we'll do that for the rest of the rack. So we'll present all of that just like this on your serving platter. And then we're gonna drizzle our salsa verde right on top. And that, guys, that's one of my favorites. This is a seared baby lamb rack with a fresh herb salsa verde. Delicious. Hi guys, have you ever made some soup and it's a little bit too salty? You don't have to throw it away. I've got a quick trick for you of how to absorb the salt. Watch. So all you have to do is grab a regular potato, which you should have, cut a small piece off of the end, and put the potato right into your soup. In about 20 minutes, your soup will be ready to go, much less salty. If you're making a large pot of soup, you might want to use the entire potato. Just make sure to cut it in 2 or 3 large pieces. All right, guys, so next up, I'm gonna be making a really delicious biscuit. We're gonna top it with a soft scrambled egg, some smoked salmon, and a caper cream cheese. This is so easy and so delicious. All right, so we're gonna start by preparing our caper cream cheese. Now, the key to my cream cheese is I like to buy the cream cheese in the grocery store that is already whipped, so it has a really nice and fluffy consistency, which you can see here. And we're gonna add a couple ingredients to this, really to just kind of, get it a little bit more exciting. So we're gonna add some capers. So we're gonna chop our capers. So we'll add our capers right in with our cream cheese. We're also gonna add some fresh dill. So again, we'll just pick some dill here. You can just do a rough chop, just like we did earlier with our salsa verde. Okay, so all of that goes into our bowl, and we're just gonna give it a little stir just to make sure everything is fully incorporated. So this is what it looks like when you finish. So we'll put that to the side. It's gonna be the final ingredient on top of our biscuit. So the main ingredient for this is actually biscuits. Now these are biscuits that I prepared in advance. You can absolutely use the biscuits that you can find in the refrigerator section of the grocery store. Don't have to feel like you have to make biscuits from scratch. If you want to, by all means. And then next up, we're gonna make some eggs, a soft scramble. I'll show you guys my trick. I'm gonna start with about 6 eggs. Okay guys, so we have our 6 eggs here. I'm gonna take this over to the stove and show you guys my recipe for making a perfect soft scramble. Come on, let's go. So my secret to a really nice soft scramble is I like to start with whisking the eggs pretty vigorously. So we're gonna add a little tiny bit of oil, just a little bit, to a non-stick pan. So we're gonna add our eggs into our sauté pan all at once, just like this. So you wanna make sure that you're whisking continuously. Once you're about halfway through, at this stage, you wanna add 2 tablespoons of butter. Because butter makes everything better. And at this stage, when it's really just about done, you want to turn it off. So right before it's about done, because eggs They retain heat really, really well. You can turn it off and it will continue to cook. And then we will remove this from the pan right away. All right, guys, so we have all of our ingredients. Let me show you how to assemble our biscuit. Really just want to slice these in half, or you can pull them apart by hand. And we are going to start with the eggs. So first let me add a little bit of pepper. I'm going to add a tiny bit of salt. So you don't want to add too much salt with your egg mixture, just because we're going to be using a salted, cured, smoked salmon, and there's going to be a little bit of salt in there too. So just to make sure you don't use too much salt. All right, so we'll start by adding some of our scrambled eggs right at the bottom of our biscuit, just like this. All right, and now we're going to add a layer of our salmon. So when you buy the salmon in the store, it's usually going to come where you can actually peel the layers apart. So just like that, it comes pre-sliced most of the time. You want to just add a nice little layer right on top of the egg. We'll do this for both. And then next up, what we'll do is we'll add a dollop of that yummy cream cheese that we prepared earlier, right on top. And then you can either serve these open face, so just like this, you can present them just like this, or you can kind of, you know, put the tops on, so just like that. And that's it. If you want, you can add a little bit of dill garnish, make it a little bit prettier. And that is our biscuits with scrambled eggs, smoked salmon, and caper cream cheese. I love this one. It's so easy. I really hope you guys try this. All right, guys, so next up, check out this week's Conversations with Christian.
Am I the funniest?
You are pretty funny.
Oh, yeah. Mommy, where do dogs poop?
Outside.
Oh. I thought dogs poop in dog potty.
Dogs go poo-poo and pee-pee outside.
Yeah. And it stays there? Grown-ups can't pick up dog poop because their hands are gonna get poopy. Chase don't have poop.
Chase from Paw Patrol?
No, Paw Patrols don't have poop or pee.
What about cats?
Cats don't pee and or poop.
No?
No.
I think they do.
No, you don't. I'm gonna tell Daddy.
All right, guys, it's time for our direct message bag. I've got some really great questions from you guys after our first episode last week. So first of all, thank you so much for all of the positive messages that you posted on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram. I'm so excited that you guys love the show. All right, so I'm getting a few questions about how exactly it is that I run a catering company and I'm doing this show and I have a 3-year-old. So the God's honest truth is that I actually get a lot of help from the grandparents. I'm very, very lucky. I have both sets of grandparents really, really involved. So even like right now, Christian is on spring break and he's spending about 10 days with my parents, which is amazing. I'm really, really lucky, and that's how we make it happen. It makes me so excited because I got to spend so much time with my grandmother growing up, and it just means a lot to me that he gets to spend so much time with them. Okay, guys, I've got a question here from G. Yanis in Atlanta, Georgia, and she wants to know how I got these cherry tomatoes that I used on last week's episode in my marinara sauce, because she said she can't find tomatoes that bright red in March. So the deal with the tomatoes, which I should have explained on the episode, is that they're greenhouse grown. So we all know that I love to use fresh and seasonal ingredients. Tomatoes are absolutely not in season. Harvest season is really late summer, early fall. But when I want that little bit of freshness that I can't get because I'm dying and it's winter and I'm over carrots and squash, I love to purchase some really great veggies from some companies that produce greenhouse veggies. So those were produced in a greenhouse, which is why they were so perfect and so bright red. All right, guys, so keep the questions coming. I love it so much. Make sure if you have any questions, you can direct message me at my Instagram page at Vanessa Cantave or right here on the show page on YouTube in the comment section. We'll always make sure that we answer your questions. So that is this week's episode. Thank you so much for joining me. We'll be back next week. We have some all new recipes for you. Everything is going to be about springtime, so make sure you tune in next Monday. We'll have 2 new recipes. We have some tips for you. Of course, conversations with Christian, because if it's Monday and 4 o'clock, you are at home with Vanessa Cantave. See you next week. Bye.